Alternative Talk 1150.
And this is my town.
Yeah, this is my town. Hey, where I was born, where I was raised, where I keep all my yesterdays, where I ran off cause I got mad and it came to blows with my old man. Where I came back, settled down, was where they're putting me in the ground. This is my town.
Good morning and welcome to the 425 Show, your place to be for all things real estate and lifestyle related here on the East Side. I'm your host, Nicole Mangina, and I have been selling real estate here for over 20 years now. And I realized pretty early in my career that it's about a whole lot more than bedrooms and baths. It's about the people, the places, community, and events that create the ultimate backdrop for our lives. And so each week we feature somebody new. So whether you're new to the area or just looking for something new to do, here's a fun way to find out great new things that we have going on. And this actually today, we have Ann Sutherland joining us today. Welcome, Ann. How are you?
Oh, thank you. I'm really well.
Good. Ann is with the Bellevue ARTSFair weekend, which is this weekend, which is not new. This has been around for, 34 years now, and you've been involved with it for the majority of that time, haven't you?
Oh, my goodness, 22 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm so excited to have you on the show. And this is in our house, one of our favorite weekends of the year. My husband's birthday is actually today. And part of his birthday is we always go to the Bellevue ARTSFair. And some years we buy, some years we just admire, but it's always something that we look forward to. So thank you for being here today.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. It's funny because the 27th is my mother's birthday.
Oh,
and so
fun.
she always thinks the art fair is about her.
As well she should.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
And I'm one of 3 art fairs, and ours is called the Bellevue Festival of the Arts.
Okay, great.
And
so go ahead.
Yeah, we have the original fair is now affiliated with the Bellevue Art Museum.
Okay.
And oh my goodness, I think they're almost 70 years old.
Wow.
They've been around. It's amazing, yes.
That's
and so we started up as an alternative to that show in 1984. I wasn't there, but
yeah,
this is what I'm told.
Okay.
And I came in the mid-90s and started working with it and worked more and more as the years went on.
Okay, perfect. And so but they're all in the same area. So if someone's downtown Bellevue this weekend going to the Arts Fair, you're going to end up in all 3 of the art shows, whether you realize it or not, correct?
Yes, they're all within a 2-block area.
Okay.
So ours is on Northeast 8th Street and Bellevue Way in the open air. There's the Bellevue Downtown Association puts on the 6th Street Fair, which is east of the museum, and the Bellevue Art Museum Fair, BAM, is in the Bellevue Square parking lot.
Okay.
So it's just kind of in this nice horseshoe.
It's
easy
great
to circle through all of them if you have the time.
Yeah, it
Lots
does.
of time.
It takes a while to go through the whole thing. It's amazing how many artists you guys have.
Yeah, we have about 170 this year.
Okay.
So that's just a third of them,
Yeah, that's amazing. And so you said you started as kind of an alternative to the Bellevue Arts Fair, or kind of in addition to. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, there were a number of artists who were not in the show. Maybe they didn't make it into that show, and they decided to have an alternative venue across the street. So Steve King was a wood craftsman and he worked at the Pike Street Market.
Okay.
And, as his year-round job. And so he approached some of the landlords that are, one of them is still there, 3 different landlords along Northeast 8th, and arranged to lease property from them for another art fair.
Mm-hmm.
And with the mission was that it was a show by artists and for artists.
Okay.
And to give back any proceeds that were made, that they were able to make from this, to give it back to local charities.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And that was the way that they hooked the landlords in, too, because they agreed to, take part of their money for that as well, the money that they were paid. And so it just worked out really well, and they've been hosting all these years.
That's great. What are the charities that you're supporting this year?
The American Indian College Fund
Okay.
is one, and Education at Elevation. It's a small nonprofit that supports a school in Tibet,
Mm-hmm.
the high lands of northern Tibet.
Got it.
A school and orphanage. And Larch Noah is an organization that supports people who are developmentally disabled
Okay.
and connecting them with the community, bringing the community to them. And they have a number of houses
Okay.
with Seattle. Solid Ground is one that we donated to.
That's a great one. I'm more familiar with that one, and I know they do great work.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah. In fact, with the Women's Council of Realtors, I was the president of that a couple of years ago, and they were our charity. Solid Ground was for our fundraiser, and so we got to go tour the facility and everything. It's fantastic what they have going on.
Oh, yeah. They cover everything, don't they?
They do.
Fighting poverty,
Mm-hmm.
social services. Yeah.
Yeah, and taking care of the whole family. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So great. Well, and so I know one of the things that we love when we go is there's such a wide variety, right? There's parts of it that feel like a crafts fair, and then parts of it that feel like a true fine arts fair. And I just love that variety. I love that it's different types of artists. You've got mixed media, 2D, textiles, wood, all kinds of different things. So we get to experience a lot of different things that we wouldn't have otherwise. It's a fun way to go, apparently I kind of like that sort of thing. And I didn't know that I was, but did before. And, I love that it always feels like a treasure hunt. There's the people that we see every year that we always, like to go find them and see what their new things are. And then it's also finding, the new people in the show and what do they have that, maybe we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So, and you have artists from all over the place, don't you?
We do. Majority from Washington, and then about equal numbers from California and Oregon. But we have a few people from BC, 3 artists from British Columbia.
Okay, great.
New Mexico, Louisiana, Arizona, Alabama, Utah.
Wow, that's a big
Minnesota.
deal. I mean, I think that speaks highly of just the quality of artists and what you guys put on. If you can draw people from that far away, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it is. We have a good reputation, and Bellevue is a really supportive place for this.
That's wonderful. Go ahead.
I was going to give an example, like how far away artists come from, and just makes me think about their dedication to the arts and how much I appreciate that they come all this way. And even the local people, what a job that is to build up their little shop for 3 days and share it with us.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. And unfortunately, we just had a cancellation from an artist coming from Pennsylvania, driving up the mountains, realized that his truck was not going to make it, and he had to turn around.
Oh, that's devastating. Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, that was sad.
Well, hopefully they'll make it next year.
Yes. And I think, I wanted to kind of give a shout out to one of the original artists when we were talking about how we began. Steve King, approached the landlords, and then he found some fellow artists. One of his neighbors at the Pike Street Market was Paul Sloan, a painter.
Oh, nice.
And he asked Paul Sloan to help jury, because we jury the work. It's a selection, a pretty competitive process for people to be in the show.
Oh, really? And so it's not just anybody. You have to apply and be approved.
Yeah.
I love it. Wow. That's great.
Yeah. So Paul was on that original jury and was also in the show until last year. And so this is the first year that he's not coming.
Okay.
After, he made it for 33 years through the show.
Wow.
So it's sad to see the old timers go. But the good news is that part of the reason he's not coming back from Idaho out here is his galleries are doing really well and his online business. So it's a good alternative. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Would you like to hear about my favorite couple in the show, the old timers?
Absolutely. Yes. Tell us.
Jack and AJ Farrell have been with the show forever.
Okay.
And Jack Farrell is known for his painted tiles.
Oh, beautiful.
He hand makes tiles, and then he creates these glazes, and he's well known for the particular colors that he creates. And he has a history in the 60s. He studied murals and stone lithography in Sweden, and then he went on to art school here, and went through different types of art. But he and his wife AJ, who's a painter, developed this business where she helps paint with his glazes on these tiles, and they make beautiful pieces that you can hang on your wall. But they also have done numerous installations in people's homes and restaurants and palaces.
Wow.
So their work is pretty precious and amazing. And especially, that's the thing about being up close to the art. You can find out how it's really made, and to hear the stories from the artists themselves, what it means to them.
And that's one of my favorite parts about it as well is, art is it's about the physical piece, but it's about the story and the connection to it. One of our favorite things to do is we buy art when we travel, because then there's that extra connection to it when we come home, and every time we look at it on the wall or wherever it might be, it makes us smile. And so that's nice.
You have those memories.
Yeah. But anytime you can connect directly to the artist, I think it just makes it that much more meaningful, for sure.
Yeah. Some of the artists are so versed in telling stories, as well as telling stories within their work, of course. But I think of Pepe Moscow. He's a 2D mixed media artist from Portland.
Okay.
And he does collages with photographs and, just other things that he adds. And they're so interesting by themselves, but he's got such a gift with words that he tells a wonderful story about a piece that you're looking at.
That's
on
awesome.
the wall. So
great.
I really love that about the show, too.
Perfect. What are some of your other favorite artists?
There's always Nzalamba, Lungala Nzalamba, the African batiks.
Oh, okay.
And it especially comes to mind with storytelling.
Right.
There's a good storyteller about his African scenes of women dancing and drumming.
Yeah.
A favorite new artist that was new last year is a young woman named Melanie Browner. Oh, I might be saying it wrong. Sorry, Browner, I'm not sure. But she's a jeweler. Okay. And she was a paper artist, too, like makes handmade paper. And she developed this line of jewelry that's made out of silver wires with bits of paper in between it of different colors. And it's just a really unique style that's kind of delicate, lightweight, easy to wear, but really beautiful.
Oh, how fun.
Fairy-like work.
I love it. Very fun.
And then there's our two sculptors, Gunter Reimnitz, who's been in the sculpture area for many, many years. He's a metal artist from Port Townsend, full-time sculptor. Last year he brought Sheila, his fire-breathing dragon, to the show.
Oh, my goodness. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. It was kind of funny on Saturday morning when the fire department does the inspection of the grounds. I look over and there they all are standing in a circle, just admiring the fire.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then his neighbor in the sculpture court is Bob Wilfong, who does amazing lost wax cast bronzes, and they're kind of human figures, more abstract, beautiful, unique patinas to the bronze. So we're honored to have them there too.
That's great. And speaking of the wax and everything, that's one of the other things that I really enjoy when you get to speak directly to the artist is to learn more about the process of how something's created. There's a story of what it means to them, but the process of how it's created is often fascinating. You know, and when you don't do it, it's something you have no idea the number of steps and the layers and the time and the intricacies that go into putting these pieces together. And I think that's pretty neat to be able to learn some of that.
Yeah. Oh, every year I learn more and more.
Yeah. So, in fact, it's interesting, you know, we do this with our boys, and our boys are 11 and 13 now, and they still come with us, and they enjoy it as much as I do. And it was a proud mom moment in the sense that, you know, like I said, we go to the arts fair, but also when we travel, we go to different art galleries, and it's just something we do with them. It's something that we enjoy doing. And this was, you know, years ago when they were smaller and they went to an art camp, and they came home the first day and they're like, this is coloring camp. This is not art camp. And they didn't want to go. I thought, oh, that's good. They're learning some appreciation for things. It made me happy.
That's great. Good to you.
It was cute. So how do these artists apply then? Because I'm assuming, you know, if you're a big sculptor, it's not like they're shipping you sculptures to go, hey, what do you think about having this in the show? Do you guys have to go out and visit them, or how do they submit their work?
Well, we do it online now.
Okay.
Originally, we accepted slides, and we set up slide projectors.
Oh,
my
bless
goodness.
your heart. That must have taken forever.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. But so it's much more convenient now. And although, you know, it is hard. Some things just you cannot see with a photograph like you can in person.
Right.
So sometimes people will even write an email and say, hey, think about this. You can't see this or that in my work, but it's there.
Right.
You know, so that might be a case where they don't make it into the show, but they might get called off the wait list, and then you can see in person. You know, so.
Yeah, because that's got to be interesting and a little bit tricky, right? Because so much of art is the appreciation of it. You know, a perfect example is my husband and I were at the Bellevue Art Museum auction that they had a couple weeks ago, and there was this mahogany suitcase that I just fell in love with. It sounds silly, right? If somebody sent you a picture of it, you'd be like, oh, it's a wood suitcase. Who really cares? But there was something about it in person. I'm just like, this thing is amazing. So, and you know, I think a lot of art is you got to physically be there to see it.
Yeah, yeah. Like you can feel the spirit of it even.
Something, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what else do you have going this week? This fair officially starts on Friday, correct?
Yeah, it's 3 days, 10
Okay.
o'clock to 8 o'clock.
Okay.
10 to 6 on Sunday.
Fantastic. And we will have all of these links on the website after the show. If you go to NicoleMangina.com/podcast, we'll have all the details. And you guys, I know there's always really fun food trucks. We'd make a whole day of it. You go and there's food trucks there. There's all kinds of great food, and you get to check out different art. We usually run into people that we know, and so it's always fun to see, you know, who's buying what and that kind of thing too.
Oh, I have to tell you about the kids' pop-up tent, the drop-in art tent for kids.
Oh, absolutely.
So this was created in memory of Aubrey, who passed away recently, but a dear close friend. Mm-hmm. And this was to represent who she was and her love of art and the fun in it and her love of children. And so we started it last year, and it was really a hit. And we're just so excited this year, even more ideas of projects for kids to do. It's in our food court.
Okay.
And they can just drop in, and there are volunteers there to, you know, help them set them up on different projects. And one of the things that looks really fun to me is the little, they can paint little flags that they can carry.
Oh,
you know,
fun.
fast-drying paint, of course, but
yeah,
do collages, work on collages together. We've got a great one in the office from last year.
Oh, how fun. It's amazing to watch kids be creative and watch just different things come out of them, right? Sometimes, especially when it's your own child, you think, oh, who knew? I didn't know he had that talent or that interest or saw the world that way. It's fascinating.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so
And
amazing.
then there's information there, too, about other art programs for children.
Okay.
So parents can find out more about that.
Great. And do you run them throughout the year, the art programs for the kids, or is that kind of a summer camp thing? Or
no, well, we have people come in, and so there's, for instance, Pratt Art Institute has someone come in and will help the kids work on a particular project for one
Okay.
of the days.
Got it.
And yeah,
That's great. I love it. It's a day for a weekend for the whole family, most definitely.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
now, how did you get connected with
Music
this?
too.
Oh, music. I love it. How did you get connected with this? Are you an artist yourself, or how did you originally get connected with this 22 years ago?
I was friends with Judy Hammond, and
Okay.
she had worked for Steve King, and then she took over running the festival.
Okay.
And she asked me if I'd help her, and I loved it, and I just kept doing it.
That's great.
I did study, I think it was, it was about the same time I studied silversmithing at the
Oh.
community college. So that, I love it. I love it, but
And do you
I
still
can't
do it?
say I'm an artist, but
Oh, I think
I love
art is
doing
just
it.
about self-expression. I think it's just about creating something.
yeah.
That's
There
great.
you go.
Do you still do it? Do you still do silversmithing?
I haven't for quite a few years.
Right. Okay. And so this is your big weekend. And thank you again, by the way, for making time for us this week. I know you are a busy girl always, but especially this week. So I so appreciate you doing this. But
Oh, thank you.
yeah, we've got the fair this weekend. Hopefully you get a nice little break afterwards. But I would imagine this takes quite a while to put together. When do you start up again? When do you start accepting applications for next year?
In January,
Okay.
so we have to start deciding things in the fall and start figuring out how it's going to work and how the partnering will go.
Got it.
It used to be, when I first started doing it, we would take applications in February, March.
Oh, wow.
But as people, as the world speeds up and people make more plans now, artists need to know at the beginning of the year, decide which shows to apply to,
Right.
figure out how their year might look.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people will travel, like the Farrells, for instance. They'll spend the winters in Florida
Okay.
doing art and selling art there, and then the summers they come up here where they live in Anacortes.
Oh, fun. And then do they actually do multiple events then throughout the Northwest?
Yeah. Well,
That's-
yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure how many they do in the Northwest. I know they do a number of them in Florida, and they do our show.
Got
But
it.
yeah, some people just travel. Some people do one show a year. Some people will do 5, 10.
That's
you
amazing.
imagine?
And I mean, yes and no. I mean, if you love it, I think it's probably great. But I would imagine for the artist, there is a tremendous amount of time and work and behind the scenes stuff that goes into it. Not to mention being there for, 3 full days. That's a lot. And I think it's supposed to be like 90 degrees this weekend. So,
Yeah.
which is
Yikes.
great. It's nice and sunny. I suppose it's better than the rain, but that the hot sun can be a little draining too. And I'm sure there's some artists out there trying to figure out how to manage their artwork in the sun as well.
Yeah, actually, some people will request, that they have a place in the shade. Some people like the sun; it makes their work sparkle. Other people
Right.
are afraid it'll make it melt,
Right. Yeah. It depends on what you've got
or
going
it's
on.
too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, but
yeah. That's one of the things I love about the fair, though, is, you have the art museum part that's in the parking garage, and then yours is out in the sun. So, as someone who's attending, you can kind of manage that, right? You do a little time in the sun, you go into the shade for a little bit, and you kind of go back and
Yeah.
forth. And it makes for a nice extended day because you can enjoy all parts of it.
yeah.
So,
And we have some trees. We have some tree shade.
you do.
We have some old trees along the street
There you go.
and some tall buildings that provide some shade.
Yeah, well, and I noticed a lot of the booths, not all, but a lot of the booths, they kind of create their own cover, right? They've got a drape over the top. So sometimes
Yeah,
that's a good
they
reason
all-
to go in and check out the art for different
Yeah,
various vendors.
there you go. And a lot of people will have a fan and, spray
Yeah.
bottles. Water
Exactly.
spray.
Awesome. Anything else we should know about the show this weekend? Something we should be on the lookout for?
Oh, goodness. Just to enjoy a really good time. We've got a brochure up on our website with the music schedule.
Oh,
I want to
great.
check out one of my favorite things is the children from the Tibetan Language and Culture Center.
Okay,
They're studying their Tibetan language.
got it.
And so they'll come, and then their traditional dances. So they'll come and sing and do some dances. I think that's on Sunday morning.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. Anything else? Anything that you're can I ask you if you have a favorite or something you're looking forward to, or do you have to remain neutral and you're excited
Oh,
about all
no.
of it?
Oh, goodness. I have a lot of favorites. Wow. Oh my goodness, how can I draw a blank? Well, one person. This is our poster artist this year.
Yes.
Have you seen the image of Kelly Morgan's pendant?
Yes, it's stunning.
I would love to see it's incredible. And talk about when you, as beautiful as that is, if you were to talk to her, how she does it, like the enamels in the piece can have 40 layers.
Oh my goodness.
Of enamel colors over another, and then all the fine metal work as well.
Uh-huh.
So that's pretty, it's so interesting to see how people's work changes and evolves, a little bit over the years, or sometimes very dramatically.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I saw the pendant on the poster image, and then when I was online doing some research yesterday, I saw it and read a little bit of the story about her background and how she created it, and just, I think I'm excited to go to her booth and check it all out and see what she's got going, because it's stunning.
Yeah. And she studied in Italy, in Florence, when she was just young, and studied from master goldsmith.
That's amazing. Well, Anne, thank you for joining us today. We are kind of coming to the end of our time here. And I so appreciate you being here and sharing all of your information. Maybe I'll run into you on the streets this weekend. Take care.
Oh, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, bye. Are you still there, Anne? Oh, am I still in the air? Bye, everybody. We'll
there
see you next
go.
week.
I came back, settled down, was where they put me in the ground. This is my town. Yeah, this is my town. My town.
The views expressed on this program are those of the